Good morning. I am really delighted to welcome you today in this episode of 30 Minutes with. We are welcoming Morgan Ody, who is the General Coordinator of the Via Campesina. Morgan, welcome. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Good morning to all.
Thank you. So, Morgan, would you like to introduce yourself briefly to the people who are following us and who don't know La Via Campesina? Why is the work that you're doing so crucial?
So I'm a peasant farmer, a small-scale farmer in Brittany, in the west of France. I'm a member of Confédération Paysanne, and I am the general coordinator for La Via Campesina. La Via Campesina is an international peasant movement with 180 member organizations all over the world. All the organizations are peasant organizations, small-scale farmers organization, and agricultural workers organization. And we are working for food sovereignty, agroecology, agrarian reform, and peasant and popular feminism. Mm-hmm. And we are trying to build up all these things together with other movements, small-scale fisher movements, pastoralist movements, environmental organizations, feminist organizations from all over the world towards a new global forum for food sovereignty, which is Nyeleni 2025.
Thank you so much. So before Nyeleni 2025, there was Nyeleni 2007 in Mali, which was a broad-based movement conference with participation from grassroots organizations. And you mentioned something that's very important, which is internationalism from below. Can you tell us how crucial that is for your work and how crucial that has been for developing the Nyeleni Declaration in 2007, and what are the priorities for Nyeleni 2025 in India? I've asked 3 questions in one, so I can remind you if you need it. Yeah, we can start with the first one. Yeah.
Since the creation of Via Campesina in 1993, we are building internationalism from below. So we are ensuring that peasants, small-scale farmers, agricultural workers from all over the world meet, and that we talk about our problems, and that we share the issues. In most of the countries, land is a problem. In many countries, the prices paid to peasants, it's a problem. So we discuss our common problems. And I think that this is a really important way to build internationalism from below, to stop listening to mainstream media and really listen to what peasants, people from other countries are telling about the reality of their countries. Mm-hmm. And but we know that there are other small-scale food producers who are not peasants, and so we want also to build the movement for food sovereignty with them, as well as with the people who need to buy their food, so urban people, and other movements which are connected, because we know, for example, that we will not be able to tackle the climate crisis without connecting environmental movements together with peasants' movements and other popular movements all over the world. Mm-hmm. So the forum in Mali in 2007 was really a milestone to build the movement for food sovereignty at the global level. Mm-hmm. It took place in a small village in Mali, in Selingue, and really brought together around 500 people from all over the world and from grassroots organizations. It's something important to say is that the movement for food sovereignty, it's not NGOs. It's really about social movements, grassroots movements. So about people who, my job is to be a farmer. I mean, I will be harvesting my vegetables, and the idea is that the people who are in these movements, we are not professionals in NGOs. We are all working with the land. We are all fishers, and that is an important aspect. So the Nyeleni Forum is not open for everybody, in the sense that we know that if it would be open for everybody, the one that would come are people from the global north, mainly NGOs and mainly men. And that's not what we want. We want half of the people to be women. We want a big part of the people to be young. And for this, we ensure that it's not open for everybody, but that we choose and we ensure that we have a balance people from each continent, between men and women, and between eldest people and young people.
Thank you so much. And can you tell us about the Nyeleni 2025 in India? Why is the Indian context so important to the messages and to the actions that will be taken there?
So it's very important to do this forum in India. Well, first, India is now the biggest country in the world, the most
Exactly.
populated, and also we've seen in 2021, 2022 a huge farmers movement in India, probably the biggest mobilization, people-based mobilization around the world in this early 20th century of farmers demanding fair prices and demanding policies like public stocks, like public process, in order to ensure fair prices for the farmers, but also fair prices for the consumers. And we do believe that we should go to India to learn about the Indian farmers movement and ensure that these policies, which are one of the base for food sovereignty, that we can develop similar policies in other contexts, in other continents. And we do believe that social movements in India are really strong, and that it could be one of the places in the world really changing the reality for tomorrow.
Exactly. And Africa as well. Many interesting things are happening, especially at the political level. We're seeing many countries, especially in the Sahel, who are reclaiming their sovereignty, political, economic, food, environmental sovereignty. What message of solidarity does the Via Campesina have for these countries and the peasants in these countries?
Indeed, for us, it's very important to have a strong participation from Africa, from social movements from Africa, and in particular from Western Africa, because we see that it's a very dynamic region where social movements are really strong, where social movements are able to have a strong impact on the governments and to change the public policies, and in particular to get rid of imperialism, in particular of the French neocolonialism. And so that's one of the places around the world where we see a strong inspiration and where we want to learn from the strength and the capacity to organize of social movements in Western Africa, in order to ensure that peasants and small-scale farmers have access to a decent revenue, have access to land. And so I think it's not so much a message of solidarity. Well, we want to build internationalism with everybody, but in particular with the movements which have shown in the last years a real capacity to change the reality.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for this interview. It was a pleasure having this conversation
Thank
with
you.
you. And good luck with the Nyeleni process.